I ain't getting 200 yet without body. They trying to give me 200 yeah. They try to hide me. Telling my true. Telling my. Shout out to Lucci. He don't even know me. Anyways. Oh, I didn't see you there. No, I'm just lying. I say this every single time. I already know. But the ones that don't know me, my name is Goodbye Forever, bro. Nice to meet you. This is a word with forever. Like and subscribe right now, right out the way, right out the gate. I ain't playing no more. I just did like 6, 7 videos. Why I'm so coming so close? Because you heard me stutter, right? Dap me up, bro. Bow, bow, bow. Yeah. I'm excited. That's brown. I need help. Anyways, like I was saying, we're gonna get straight into it. We're gonna talk about don't judge a book by its cover. Whew, bro, where should I start with this? Where should I start with this? Should I start with my own story? Or should I just talk in general what I see? I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna talk about my personal story just a little bit. Alright, just a little context, right? The city that I'm in, I wasn't always living in here. I'm not from here. I'm from 45 minutes or 30 minutes away or 35 minutes away, whatever that you want to say. I moved here when I was 6. My mom raised me. You feel me? That's what a parent does. My mom, my mom raised me. She was my age when she came out here. She had a business. You know what I'm saying? She was a cosmetologist and going to school full time. She even got a job like when like times was getting rough, and full time running the shop, full time in school, full time taking care of me, all at the same time. Yeah, shout out to her. She did that. And when I came here, bro, I didn't know what to expect. My mom didn't know what to expect. My mom's she was very extroverted for real. I was very extroverted for real. Let's just say we went through some trials and tribulations with these people that live here. It's a beautiful place, but people not. We went through some trials and tribulations that kind of changed us a little bit. And the majority of the main thing was the fact that we had good energy. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we were nothing like the people that was here. There's a few good people that's here. Don't get me wrong, but the majority, nah. This town has like a curse or a hex or something that's to it for real. And the people out here are weird. Yes, I said it. If you're watching this, you're weird. You're weird. You're weird. You're weird. You're weird. I don't care. I said it. Little trauma. You know what I'm saying? It's alright. We all go through it. I just had to get that off my chest. I feel better now. Like I was saying, went through trials and tribulations. Let's start off with probably like junior year. Junior year, I was almost graduating for real. Playing basketball with sports. The school traumatized me because I was like a star athlete. Everybody else, I'm not just saying this to be egotistical. This is like real life trauma that I'm talking about. Throughout school, I was looked at as a superstar in basketball or sports or just by the way that I dress and my aesthetic because it's different from other people. It's always been my whole entire life. And before that, I witnessed death at an early age. My uncle got killed at 10 years old. He got, in the back of the head. I don't know if I can say that because I don't want to get, you know what I'm saying, violated for guidelines. But let's just say he was a bullet hit him. Let's just say that at a young age, and I was introduced to trauma right then and there. Told you, move here. My mom, shop. Business, schooling, raising me. Now we're gonna fast forward to junior year to like senior year college area. Alright. So we're living at this place, right? And as we're living at this place, mind you, I lived there from 6 years old, probably like to 19 years old for real. And there's an issue that's going on with the apartment. There's black mold on the ceiling, right? If you don't know, I'm gonna put you on a little insight for the area that I live in. I live in the Finger Lakes area. In the city, if you know where I live, there's a very common situation with black mold and nobody's saying anything about it. But a lot of properties have black mold, which is not a good thing. Is do your research on black mold. It could cause cancer, it could cause itching, rashness, it could cause abnormal tumors. It could cause a lot of things. Now that we got that out of the way with the context of black mold, was living in an apartment. The landlord was being nasty. I was supposed to leave long time ago with my mother in eighth grade, but the landlord at the time was being nasty, didn't want us to go, and said that our lease wasn't up, even though that it was up. But you know, if it's private property, they can say whatever that they want to say because it's their property for real. So she said the lease wasn't up, right? She said the lease wasn't up. We was forced to stay. Now that we was forced to stay, um, like I said, fast forwarding into junior or senior year around that time, um, we reported the black mold situation to the landlord. As we reported the situation of the black mold to the landlord made it seem like it was our fault, right? We go to court. As soon as we go to court, we get kicked out, we get evicted, right? Now I have a job, you know what I'm saying? I have a job. I'm playing basketball. There's a whole lot of things that's running through my mind for real. And not figuring out where I'm gonna lay my head, not figuring out where my mother's gonna lay her head or what the situation is. So we had to make do. You know, my mom had a salon on Castle Street. She had many salons before that, but I remember in that moment that we got kicked out and we moved to a different place, we thought everything was good because we told the person who owns my mother's salon said that they had apartments for rent, right? So now that they said that they had apartments for rent, we move in there, turn around, everything's good for a little bit. Now I'm in college, you know. Now I'm in college, situated, everything like that. It gets worse. It gets so worse to the point where turn around, the same situation that's in the salon, same situation that's in the house that we living in, address the person for real, the two landlords that live, not live there, but own the place and owns the apartments. They feel some type of way about it too. One of the landlords is racist for real, low key, but don't think that we know it. You know what I'm saying? She feels some type of way. The husband just follows whatever that she says, and they ended up kicking us out again. So mind you, the first time it was bad because it was just like we was moving around so many different places. All right, so now we're an hour away. We're an hour away for real. I work a hour away. I go to school 45 minutes away from where I live, bouncing around and stuff like that. And it's just a whole big ordeal for us to turn around and get settled into a place, thinking that we're good, for us to turn around and get kicked out for the same cause, for the same reason, and also in addition racism on top of that. So it's a crazy situation for real. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a crazy situation. We're at 8 minutes. Crazy situation. Now that we got that out the way of the situation, but this time I get fired in the midst of everything, you know? As I get fired in the midst of everything, now everything is really downhill. And I'm in college, but I got to finish my degree. You know, I got to do what I got to do for real. And going from place to place, once again, my mom was emergency places. She was, you know, held off on to emergency places and stuff like that. I didn't want to take that route, so I was doing what I had to do, bouncing back from Rochester, bouncing back from here. But this time I don't have a job, you know what I'm saying? Met some friends in college, was doing music with that. They ended up being fake, they ended up being snake. Now I'm turning around. Now I had to come right back out here. During that whole time, for me to come back here, for me to get treated like crazy with an opportunity, because when I was in Rochester, I got granted an opportunity for me to work at Lowe's, and I got transferred to another place that's like 35 minutes away from the place that I was already living, in the areas that I was bouncing around and locating. I know it's kind of hard to follow because I don't want to say the names immediately, but you'll get it. You'll get it. You'll just rewind it back and just keep rewinding this video back so you can run up the hours. You know what I'm saying? So as I get transferred, for me to turn around to be at that place for like 1 or 2 years, get granted another opportunity, you know what I'm saying? It seems like an opportunity. And for them to be racist and treat me poorly for real. And it's not a woe is me. I do not pull the race card like all the time or anything like that. I barely even pulled a car. I just called a spade for real. So was treated poorly at that job. I even had people that come up to me and customers be like, "Yo, why are you here? You're too smart to be here." And I'm not gonna lie, you're different. I come from a background of family that's racist and stuff like that, but that's just how I was, and I'm just trying to break out of the situation. But you're different. You actually have a future. You're actually smart. Basically, what they were saying. Like, what does that mean? But anyways, going from that to another place, for me to introduce to how I got this, mind you, from I worked there from like 2021 to 2022, near the end of the almost the fall or whatever. Terrible job, the worst job that I ever had. I didn't even mention I worked at Walmart. I just walked out. I worked at Walmart probably for like three or 4 months, and I just walked out because it was just a lot of misery. People love company type of thing in there. Um, didn't want to do that. Didn't want to go back. People were like verbally abusive, mood swings, all type of stuff, and I was stocking shelves. That was terrible. So for me to go into Lowe's against transfer was safer route, but I ended up, you know, abuse again, and you can see this trauma as I'm going through it right now as I'm trying to explain. But left there just to go to a place that's even more toxic than the both of them. Like I said, I was working at a place called Real Eats America, and it was so unorganized, bro. I'm not gonna even lie to you. It was so unorganized for real. As I was working at that place, man, they had food portions out of bus bins for real, which is crazy. They only had a few staff. They had day shift, they had evening shift, which was what I was on, and then they had night shift for real. But it was just a toxic environment, man. I remember a lot of the staff members, and you didn't even get drug tests, so we're working with like junkies. No disrespect or no like offense, but I'm just telling the truth. We was working with junkies, alcoholics, and all types of stuff. And I remember that there would be people, even staff members and people of manager positions, would sleep with the employees, and not only that, they would do drugs on the clock. Some people would engage in other activities on the clock, messing around, and it was just a bad situation. And I just remember being in that place. Now, not to mind you, I'm autistic, right? I don't really say that to a lot of people because it's just like, what do I have to say it for? But it's just like, if the opportunity or situation needs be for me to say it, I'll say it. I'll get that out the way. And I have ADHD for real, so it was like discriminatory as well, because like my process of learning, all the take and all the cares and all the steps of what it was for real, they were supposed to write down. And there's always accommodations everywhere that you go. If you didn't know that, there's always accommodations that a job has to require to you, or else it's lead onto the policy of discrimination. But they didn't do nothing with that. Like, they didn't write no steps down. They wasn't verbally clear about anything. It just treated me like any kind of way and made me do the dirty work of everything. You know what I'm saying? Not to mind you, I was in the freezer for like 8 hours a day. Not only me, other co-workers too, freezing our behinds off. And the temperature in the multi-vac, that's what it's called, the room, had to stay at 33 degrees, bro, at least, for the food. All types of situations. And not only that, I remember one time that I saved the company for real because they passed through undercooked shrimp, which is crazy. And I'm the one that's checking the bags. So you have the multi-vac. All right, the multi-vac processes the food. You have the people that's in the kitchen, they chefs, and the sous chefs and all the workers. They prep, they cook the meals and stuff like that. Pass it to us. We seal it off. Pass it to the other people. That's called grommeting. Grommeting is the labeling, putting the boxes together, the final product before it's being shipped off for real. And then you have people like the maintenance man, and then you have people that take the boxes to the shipping area and put the labels on and all that kind of work. But I remember saving them for real. And the property manager of the factory had came to me and was like, "Oh, appreciate you sincerely. This, and that." And then fast forward, we moved to a other building that's like probably like 30 minutes away or whatever. Soon as we moved to the other building, right? Soon as we moved to the other building, it's a whole different rules and regulations. A lot of people had left because they said that it was going to be 10 times strict, no phones, no electric devices. You had to be at a certain area. You can't leave the property unless it's lunchtime. All of these stuff, the qualifications that they was trying to pass through, that really didn't work still. And everybody was in the freezer for real because that's how they wanted it and wanted the food. And I remember my brother being killed for real during that time. So it was just a lot that I was going through mentally and physically. I got injured on the job, and I was trying to tell them that, like, yo, I need some help or whatever, and they didn't want to hear. Mind you, we got protein, we got starches, we have desserts, we have all types of things. So when it comes out the machine, it's in like a pouch, a vacuum sealed pouch, and you have to put it in bins, 100 high in the bins. Well, which is really 10 stacked high in the bins. You have to put them on a cart when you're done, and then you have to wheel them to the freezer, another freezer where all the meals are stored at. Mind you, there's racks on top of racks on top of racks and bins on top of bins on top of bins. It's not nothing. I'm 6'4". There's bins and bins on top that's taller than me. So what happened is, you know what I'm saying? You do the math. And all I wanted is help. Nobody would help me or anything like that. So I got injured. I got injured for real. And my brother died, so it was just a whole lot of spiraling that was going on. And then in between that, when I was homeless for real, during the time back before everything was really getting chaotic, I had people pass on me for real. From 2019 to now, I probably had like at least like 35 deaths of people for real. You know what I'm saying? Back to back to back to back. Homicides, drug addiction, number one, and natural cause is so seldom. So I was going through all of this at the same time, and mind you, like I said, I was froze to death at an early age at 5 years old because a bullet hit the back of my uncle's head. For real. So it just opened up a world of traumatic distress mixed in with what I've been through with being a basketball superstar and an athlete in here, and people just looking at me sideways because they think that I'm about to be the next LeBron James. And I imagine I was funny too. So just imagine all the social pressure that I went through, of everything that I've been through, everything that I'm going through, the post-traumatic, how you say it? Post-traumatic stress. Yeah, post-traumatic stress, my bad, that I've been through with my journey and my struggles. And that's just 25% of the story that of what I told you. So imagine the mind state that I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? With the back-to-back deaths, with the hate and the jealousy, and with everything that I've been through, here I stood tall. I graduated. You know what I'm saying? I graduated high school. I graduated college. You know, I'm very successful. I'm autistic. I have ADHD. All these situations that I was able to overcome for real because of God for real. God is the reason why I am as far as I am within life. My mother always told me that I was relentless for real, and how she looks up to me and she's proud of me because after all the trials and tribulations that I've been through, I still remain the same person no matter what anybody has done to me. And I'm also proud of myself too. And I never really take the time as much. I do, but not as much as I should be proud of myself, because the normal person couldn't even bear, I want to say, even 5% of my pain for real. They don't even know what it is to wake up every single day and not being understood for real, of how you're born different, so you have to work twice as hard as everyone else just to even catch up. But then again, at the same time, as one of the how should I say it, as one of the psychologists had explained to me what it is like for having autism is your brain works at a higher frequency. That's why if you also have autism, or if you also have any disabilities or whatever, it's really like a superhero for real. Like, you really like a superhero for real. It's like a superpower. That's why I meant to say it, because where the areas that you lack at, other areas are met off the charts. So say if you lack an emotional state of mind or state point with anything like that, right? Your logic is going to be so strong. It's because your body and your brain is making up for everything that you do that you lack for real. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a moment right now because I'm getting emotional. So if words that I'm saying doesn't seem right, or it doesn't seem like as if it's making sense, it's because my mind is being triggered right now, and I'm in a very vulnerable state with me telling this with you, because I never really tell my story to people, and I'd rather just sit to myself or do music or do content creation like how I do with y'all, how I'm doing with y'all right now. And it's not easy, man. So I just want to take the time and say, if you also struggle with things, if you also being misjudged, if you also feel like you don't have no hope, hang in, because if I could do it, I know that you could do it too. And it's not nothing that you can't do. All of the things, all of the odds, all of what my teachers had told me when I was in school, I beat all of those odds. God help me with that. So whatever that you're going through in life, just know that it's temporarily. Pain is temporarily. Joy is temporarily. Happiness is temporarily. It sounds like it's a negative connotation, but it's really not. It's just letting you know of you being aware of everything that's going on in this life, and that it will get better. That's all I had to say. And I thank y'all, because it was hard for me to even get through that, because my mind was just racing in all different types of places, and I had to delete videos off my phone for me to even make this continue on. But I appreciate y'all sincerely. This is a word with forever. This is forever. Thank you.